Hi, welcome to our Gallops panel to discuss the Gallops and the big race itself next week. Just before we go on, I'll introduce my panel. I've got two ex-top jockeys, one who trains now, one who presents. I've got Kevin Shea on my immediate right and Garth Puller next to him with the red hat. Welcome, guys.
Welcome, Paul. Nice to be here. Lovely crowd. Well done, guys. Everybody attending, and the news of Hollywood, who's taken the rights to name Gravel Racecourse.
And Scottsville.
And Scottsville.
Yeah. Garth?
Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. I see you've attracted a nice crowd, and I go along. Hollywood do a hell of a lot for racing, and they put a lot back into sport, and we're happy to have them on board.
Absolutely right. Just before we get started, a few pointers I want to take note of. They're expecting the pick six to be 15 million. That's a 15 million. The betting opens on Monday, so as soon as you want to get onto Tote and get your bets on, get your bets in. It opens on Monday, but bear in mind the Tote pays the first 6 places. So if you saw a horse in the Gallop that worked well, you think, this got her in a place. You've now got 6 places. But we're going to run through the Gallops and the card with my two friends here, starting off at the bottom and working up to last year's winner. Kevin, let's start with Zill. We had to watch it in the video.
Yeah, Sean Terry, powerful yard. Comes in the race, drawn a bit deep left.
It's not in the race at the moment?
Yeah, when I say, it's an emergency acceptor, and you got to just wait and just not hope something comes out, but if something comes out, you get the luck like Robbie did with Camphor.
Okay, Garth, what did you think? Did you get to watch the Transvaal Gallops?
Yeah, I watched them. I thought he put up a good gallop. He was probably going easier than legal. But I think it's going to be hard for him. He's probably the 5th string in the bow.
Yeah, that's true. And then let's move up. Now, Camphor is Robbie Hill, one of the guys who's ridden a winner in the Vodacom Durban July. Wonderful as a trainer. He's got this Group 1 winning filly into the big race, and he'll be pleased. He's got a great bunch of owners. And Kev, the question marks have been about stamina. I didn't watch the Gallop. I was just coming up here to get prepared. What did you think?
Listen, she's a small little filly, a light filly, as you see her, and I think Robbie will be happy he got her in, but this is a real tough task for her. She's got a lot to do from a deep draw as well, but like any trainer, if you've got a chance to get in the July, you let them run and you take your chances. I've seen worse horses than Camphor run well in the July as well, so yeah, you've got to give her a small little chance.
Worse.
Okay.
Worse. Garth, what do you think, Camphor?
Look, it's nice that she got in. I think she's up against it, but I must say I was quite impressed with her gallop. She really strode out well, and she moved nicely, and you never know. Luck in running, but it's going to be a tough ask.
You know, Garth, lightweight. I had a chat with Robbie Hill, and I said, what is the story? He said, a lot of people think that she's better over shorter. It's not the case. He said she ran, I think, a length back in the 1900, finishing on. She's got a lightweight here, and she is a Group 1 winner.
Yeah, they've aimed her at the July left, and when I speak to Robbie, they were always targeting her, let's put it this way, for July Day as well, because there's a big fillies race as well, but he's got a chance. He's got a runner in the big one, so you take your chances.
Yeah, Justin Snaith's got a strong hand, and so has Nick Johnson. He's a major player in the industry. Now he's got Miyabi Gold and Blink Kamala, I believe, down to ride. It comes in with a lightweight. What do you think, Kev? What do you think of the workout?
Listen, you can't leave Justin out of anything at the moment, but yeah, I think worked well. I just saw Richard Free now when I just walked into the parade ring, and he was happy with it, but I think he's happy with his ride. We'll get to that as well. Let's do it again. But Miyabi Gold, he's there. He's a big striding horse, and I think he's a horse. Maybe he could be. They're paying 6 places. Could fill in one of those places.
Absolutely, Garth.
Yeah, I think she's. Look, I mean, I also don't think she's the top horse of Justin Snaith's, but she's nice work this morning, and she's going to take her chances. But I think they are better.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's move on up, and then we saw Fresno. I thought galloped well. Greg Sheen will be riding this for Joey Ramsden, and it's good to see the colours in the big race. Another major player having a horse in the big race. Kev, Fresno, what did you think of the work?
Yeah, I thought the work was very good. You can't take anything away from her. She's a little bit under the radar, I think. She's run against the best. She's taken on the best. She's maybe not always in front of them, but she's a trier, and I think Greg Sheen will be happy with his ride, and Joey Ramsden as well.
Yeah, I think Paul. I think she looks fit. I mean, he looks fit. I think it was a good gallop. It was a bit of a different gallop. He jumped off well clear and waited. Came through the work well. Outside chance.
Okay, right. Let's move on to the next one, which is Return Flight. Kev, a very good filly. This daughter of Pomodoro. She's shown great class. You and I spoke about her last run. We think things never worked out for her.
Yeah, I think last run was you just put a line completely through that, but she's normally racing against the girls now left. She's going to have to step it up against the boys now. Ryan Munga, I think, could be his first July and July rider. He's got a nice draw of 2. He's right in the middle of the scrum. So let's see how Return Flight goes. Honest, is she good enough? That's the big question mark.
Yeah, I tend to agree, Paul. I think obviously a top filly, but she's up against the boys, and she'll be up there making the pace. There's a lot of pace on the inside, so it's going to be a tough ride.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's got it all to do as a 3-year-old, but she's got a wonderful record. And then the Magnificent 7 has been the scratching that allowed Camphor to get in. So don't forget, take out number 15. Get your race cards and make sure you take it out. Now let's move to a horse I thought moved very well today, Kevin. Doublemint.
Yeah, another one that's run against the best. Run behind Eyes Wide Open, Rainbow Bridge. Just below the best, I think, Lef. Have to be at its best on the day to, I think, pull it off. But a big striding horse as well. He knows what Gravel's all about. Small outside chance for me.
Garth?
Yeah, I think he put up a nice gallop, but I think slightly out at the weights with a couple of horses. I think it's going to be hard for him.
Yeah, I can see it tightening up. When I know Justin had said this horse will improve and tighten up from its last race. All right, let's move up to Roy Heading Up. Wonderful to see Roy Moodley's got a runner in this race. Frank's got it prepared, won the Derby, got in, and he's got Marco van Rensburg riding it. Kev, how do you see this horse running?
Listen, it's great to Roy, a big player in the game, to see him have a runner. Is he good enough? There's another question mark. His last win was quite impressive, came from last. I don't think you can be able to come from last in the July this year, because I think some of the big players and the big runners are all going to be racing up there quite handily. But yeah, is he good enough? The question mark is, this is his acid test, so let's see. I personally think he's got it all to do.
Garth, just your take on it. Before you give us your take, last time out was the first time that a horse had run at Scottsville and won the Derby. Arthur dropped it out. Now, if you were riding it, draw 15, what would you be thinking?
I know there's a lot of pace on the inside. You can't change the game plan. He's going to have to come from off them. You've just got to hope that the pace continues. It's a Group 1 the July. They normally race all the way.
Yeah.
I was impressed with his last win. I know it wasn't the strongest of fields, but he won well first run there. And Arthur Marcus doesn't like coming from behind, and he came from last. So that was even more impressive for me. And I've been watching this horse work in the afternoons. Frank works in the afternoons, and he's been putting up some good work. Looks very well.
Yeah.
Looks fit, and looked like he enjoyed his little 400 meters this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on, Kevin, to the runner-up last year, Made to Conquer. Pity our friend Jeff Lloyd didn't get out here to ride it again, and again hasn't drawn that well, but I don't think you complain too much when you're 11 out of 20. Kev, it raced from up there with Jeff. Well, how do you see it racing now? It's lightweight.
Yeah, I definitely think this horse is a big runner left. He got a kilo from Do It Again last year. Do It Again's got to give him 7 kilos this year. So I think he's a great big runner. He races from up there, big striding horse. Drawn 11, not a problem for him. He'll slowly get himself across Markwell. And I think he'll be in the vanguard, or maybe he could even be in front. And if he's in front and he's left alone in front, he could be a huge runner. But I think this horse, looking at him, he looks fantastic. And I think Justice got this horse spot on for the July. Big runner for me.
Garth?
Yeah, for me, big runner too. I think I think he's last year's run. He was messed around a little bit by Grant van Niekerk taking the favourite around and changing the pace. I think he would have probably been closer to Do It Again last year. And obviously he's well weighted. He looks like he's had a good prep. His third run coming in. For me, he's going to be a big runner. I'll follow him, and I'll stay following him.
You say you're pretty big on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with Garth. Definitely a big runner left.
Okay, let's
well
move.
weighted, as we say.
Yeah.
I mean, a horse had the same weight last year. He's done nothing wrong really since then. He's run behind the big horses, but yeah, I think big runner.
All right, Eyes Wide Open. Now, here's a horse who we've no doubt has always had the ability. I remember Kev when he ran here behind Orpheus, I think it was, of that very quick pace. I wasn't mad about the way he was moving. The next couple of runs, he's starting to float again. He's got himself back to where he was. He's a very good horse, but Kev, he's got it to do. He's got a great rider. It's a deep draw.
Yeah, he's got it all to do, Lef. I can't agree with you more. I must say he is definitely moving better. He's going to have to. Glenn's going to have him 100% on the day, moving well. He's already declared that the horse does hemo-concentrate as well, so he's going to have his everything 100%. He's got the services of Warren Kennedy. I don't have to tell you how well he's riding because he's on top form. He'll be hungry to win. And if this horse, on the day, if he's 110%, I think he's going to be on top of them. I know a lot of people might think he's thrown a bit in the deep end. He's beaten Do It Again. He's done nothing wrong, but he has had his problems, and I think Glenn's got over his problems now. For me, another horse is definitely, I wouldn't let this horse run loose.
All right.
Yeah, Paul, his comeback has taken a bit of time, but he looks like he's found his form. At the weights, he's well in. He's beaten some of the favourites at level weight. So I mean, finding his best form, he'd definitely be a runner.
Yeah, okay, someone's got a rattle going somewhere. A lot of fun out there. It's a drill. Someone's using a drill. They can have a word with the guy with the drill and tell him if he can wait another half hour, he'll be fine. I know they're getting the banners up. They haven't got the message to him yet. All right, let's move on to Tilbury Fort. Now, Tilbury Fort, last two runs seem to have blotted his copybook, and I think... Mark Curry and Eric Van Niekerk, nice to see him involved with his partners in this horse. Must be hoping that this horse comes back to some form. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, absolutely, Lef. As we spoke in the studio earlier, I don't know if the Gravel Straight is not going to be too short for me. Likes it a little bit, takes a bit of time. He won the Summer Cup. I was up there to watch the race, and he comes from a little bit off the pace, but when he gets going, he really gets going. And it's got a lightweight. He's got Raymond Danielson, a very talented rider. Sean Terry, we don't have to tell you how his horses are running at the moment. You'll be a brave man to leave us out your quartet or your trifectas.
All right, you looking the same form as me?
Sorry?
Nothing, Garth?
Yeah, I think he's drawn one. I think he's obviously he's going to be under pressure to hold his position there. I mean, you don't want to give too much away. He comes from off the pace, but he's going to need to hold it a bit. The pace is going to be on. I think he puts his best foot forward. I was impressed with his work. I thought it was one of the better workouts in the Transvaal. And it's a tough racer.
Tough racing, yeah. All right, now let's move on to Devon Odyssey coming in from the Johan Janssen van Vuren stable. And good to see some of the big players in the game getting into the game. Lawrence Werner's and this estate late. Chris Gerber got a share in the source with their partners. Hasn't done too much wrong lately. It's got a lot to do, draw 16, Kevin. Do you think that form translates into a bit of a threat in a big race like this?
Yeah, Lef, I don't know. This was... I've watched his racing. Is he good enough? The question mark is he good enough? I'm not sure. 4.25 lengths behind Hawwaam. That's most probably not a bad run at all, but we all know how Hawwaam won that day. He won very well. For me, I think he's got it all to do.
Okay.
Yeah, for me too, he's drawn out wide. I thought he had a strong gallop. He obviously needed it. They rode him out. He probably come on from that. He obviously needed that gallop, but I don't think he can reverse the form with Hawwaam.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to a horse that's found support after winning the Jubilee, and that's Barahin from the powerful Mark de Kock stable. When he was interviewed with James Goodman some time back, he said this horse has waited to get a blow. Now, I watched the gallop, Kev, you and I watched it together. He had to work at him. He got a couple of smacks, and I think he's that type of horse, but he has the class.
He definitely has. When Mark de Kock opens his mouth, he always stands to attention. He says his horse is very well weighted. Is he mature enough for the big race? We'll wait and see. As you know, the July is not, they don't just jump out and everybody does a little half pace around the back stretch. It's the first 2 furlongs is madness, and he's got a nice draw, and I just hope he doesn't get tossed around or bumped around and lose his position. But this horse with this weight, as Mark de Kock says, is a huge runner.
Yeah, Paul, I think he knows Gravel. Obviously, he's not the best worker. Watching him work, they really had to get stuck into him. He's obviously not a good track horse, but he's fit. He's just won a decent race, and with that draw and that weight, I think he'd be a runner.
Yeah, now we go to Lady in Black, another dynasty in the race. This filly is trained by Dennis Dreyer, who has won this race before. He knows how to win this race, and they had options, but they elected to run here, Kev. They were keen on running here. She's a very good filly.
Yeah, absolutely, Lef. They thought a lot of her when they took her to Cape Town, and unfortunately she she found O Susanna, or she beat O Susanna, and O Susanna came out the next start just to turn the form around again. So if O Susanna was in the race, you would give it a chance. You got to give Lady in Black a chance. You know, the colours of the late Jack Mitchell, as you said, Dennis Dreyer, Sean Veal, they're in the top of their game. Yeah, you got to give her a chance outside. They play 6 places. I can't see why she can't run in the first 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought the way she behaved today and the way she galloped, I thought impressed me. She looked like she enjoyed herself. Nice big striding, and I think she'd have a small outside chance.
Okay, there we go for her. She's coming out of trap 9. Then Twist of Fate's always been a very good horse, and they've got Mr. Juglal to ride it. I believe there's a Mauritian connection with the ownership. Unfortunately, both Joey's horses drew extremely deep, and this is drawn at 17, but runner-up in the Daily News, Kevin, a horse with a lot of ability.
Definitely got a lot of ability, as Mark de Kock said. Between him and Hawwaam must be the 2 best 3-year-old colts around at the moment. 54 kilos. Yeah, he's drawn a bit deep. Naresh Juglal, very talented rider. This horse, he could be anything. If you think Hawwaam's got a chance, you've got to like this horse, Twist of Fate. Distance, I don't think is a problem. Jay Ramsden knows how to get them ready for the July. He's fit, he's well. He's done nothing wrong. He's a very cheap purchase as a yearling, and he's earned, I think, over 2 million in stakes. So you've got to respect him. He's a serious horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Laffy draws out 17, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, Joey won it from a 20 draw, and I think there's so much pace on the inside that it's going to be a competitive race up for the first 600 meters. I think he'll slip into where he wants to be. 54 on his back. He is one of the top 3-year-olds around. This is definitely a runner, and he looks like he's well. He enjoyed his gallop.
Master of My Fate, the stallion left, done nothing wrong.
Absolutely great start for Master of My Fate. Now, Legal Eagle, he'll be in a few weeks' time. He'll be 8 years old. But I think it's wonderful for Bram, Billy Henderson, and who's the other guy? Headley, of course. The 3 of them have got bought this horse. They've had a lot of fun. He's a very good horse. Kevin, people are saying as he's got older, he's become more of a miler. Bear in mind, he has won a Derby as a younger horse. Is it a lot to do for this horse?
I think so, Lef. Personally, myself, I think he's over his best. There's no doubt about it. As you said, he did win the Derby as a 3-year-old. Can you give him a chance here with 55? I think he's well weighted with a merit rating of 115. But like you say, in a couple of weeks, he's 8-year-old. I think he's got it all to do myself. I personally think he's shown how good he was over the mile. He's done well. He's a great horse. I respect him. But this day, I think maybe there's going to be a few better than him.
Okay.
There we go. Legal Eagle's going to win.
Yeah, I think
his only supporters arrived.
I think Legal Eagle's looking for greener pastures. I think he's definitely past his best. He wouldn't have got beaten by these horses in his last 5 runs had he been himself. I don't think the distance is a problem. I just the stable jockey's taken the ride, but I just think he's going on history. It's going to be hard for him to turn it around. He was a great horse, and I'd like to see him go out as a great horse.
All right, don't count him out, they say. Well, let's talk about the favourite Hawwaam, a very good horse from a top stable. This Silvano has notched up a lot of great wins, Kevin, and he's a superb horse. What I found interesting was you and I were talking while we were having the gallops, and we watched this horse gallop, and you said, got the great rider on. It's still got to be tactical because they start going at the 800, and you've got to think about it.
Yeah, I'd hate to see him get caught up in the rush
Scrum.
turning for home in the scrum. He's drawn 3, which for me is always nice if you've got a horse with a lot of pace. This horse, sometimes he comes out the gates a bit sluggish. He's got the service of Anton Marcus, and Anton's a master at getting him out the gates. You don't want to rush him out the gates and get him, set him alight. You saw him in his gallop today. He carries his head very high, and looks like he's got quite a soft mouth. You don't want to see him fighting because then it'll count his chances out. But he's an absolute superb animal. Mark de Kock thinks a lot of him. To run him with 56 kilos is a big ask, but he's definitely got the ability. He's 16 to 10, 18 to 10 favourite. I think he deserves to be there. He's a top jockey, top trainer. He's a top horse. The distance not a problem. I think this is the horse. If all things go right for him, it's definitely the horse they all have to beat.
Yeah, I think he's winning the Daily News proved it. The course is no problem. I thought coming from Turffontein to here it would worry him, but he won the Daily News very well. Top horse, big action. I've seen him work in the morning. Looks brilliant. He probably does a lot of things wrong in the race, but the main thing is he comes out and still wins the races. So he's maturing and learning. And the fact that he throws his head up and the fact that he might pull at different times of the race or drop the bit at different times of the race, I don't think it's going to affect him. When it comes down to the crunch, he's there.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more.
Well, he's top of the betting boards. He's the best 3-year-old, probably one of the better ones Michael's had in some time. Now let's go to the pacemaker. I believe will be, I think, head honcho as a galloper. He ran the other day, Kev, and I had a chat with Byron before the race and said he'll tighten up a lot from this. He's not himself yet. He just needs to tighten up, but he's going about it the right way. We saw the galloper. I was impressed. What put his name up in lights to a degree has been his pace in the Met and staying on for third.
Yeah, Lef, this was my, 3 months ago, this was my lurker in the race. I thought his race in the Met was absolutely phenomenal behind Rainbow Bridge, considering he's a big striding horse, and Keegan de Mello was given instructions to let this horse go early, and Garth will tell you to let a horse go early in Cape Town, the top of the straight, and still be there to finish. It's got to be a serious runner. He ran behind Rainbow Bridge and Do It Again. He was my early choice. I still think he's a runner. You saw him today. He's a magnificent looking horse. He's a big horse. He's got a big stride. His prep run wasn't the best run. I think there was only 7 runners. It was a pinnacle plate. He found a bit of trouble from his own stable companion, but spoke to Byron after that. He wasn't allowed to come and gallop him at Greyville in between that, so they've taken him to Maritzburg. So he has had another gallop as well, and he's had today's gallop as well. So he'll be spot on the day. I think he's fit. He's ready. Looking at him this morning, he looked very well. Big striding horse. I'd definitely give this horse a big chance. I think he's good value at 25-30 to 1.
Garth, are your hands tied with a front runner drawn 19?
You know what, Paul? If it's a bit of advice for Keegan. If he comes out and just aims for the drill all, doesn't look to cut over anybody, just aims for the drill all, he's not going to lose much ground. He's going to have to commit himself. He's a front runner. From 19, he's going nowhere unless he does. And what I like about him is he has a high cruising speed, and then he still kicks. He impressed me in Cape Town, although I will say, and I'll say it openly, that he let him go too early.
Yep.
He let him go at the top of the straight. That cost him. I think had he cruised it for another 150 metres or 100 metres into the straight, he probably would have hung on for second, or it would have been a toss-up between the 3 horses. So that puts him right in the picture. In his favour at Greyville, it's a short straight. You can turn for him and let them go. So if he's got across and he hasn't done too much work and they haven't pushed him from the inside, he's a galloper and he's got a chance.
Garth, you've ridden here many times, so have you, Kevin. Does the race hot up from the 800 normally?
Yeah, the July, funny, is one of the few races in the world that the jocks are like sheep. When one starts going, I mean, if Keegan starts going at the 800 metre, the guys are going to follow him. I wouldn't like to let this horse be in front and doing his own thing in front. He would be a big danger, like Garth says. And it does start hotting up, and you don't want to fall into the trap as well. Garth will tell you, if you set your horse alight at the 800, you're going to be found wanting at the finish at Greyville. But I wouldn't leave this horse in front. I would just keep him in my sights.
Yeah, I agree, Paul. You know, when you're coming through the 800, everyone's watching. I've seen top jockeys make big mistakes by trying to get out or trying to force their way out because they see someone 2 or 3 lengths ahead of them travelling well, and they want to get there too soon. So obviously everything picks up. But what happens if the guys on the inside, the guys will start move out, they'll start moving around them because they don't want to get left, and the guys that can't move out will slip up, so they get a lot closer. Then obviously they've got to hope for a clear run, and there is a false rail, and you get a clear run. You need luck in the running, but it does hot up from the 800.
All right, let's go to the big 2, if I can call that the big 2 of the older horses. Rainbow Bridge, excellent record, beautiful draw, top jockey Gav Lorena. There's a lot of pluses, great trainer Eric Sands, and a quirky horse who I think Kevin seems to be behaving a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched his last time he ran here. He was absolutely so well behaved. It was lovely to see it. Had a chat to Eric as well. I think he's had a good prep. Both his Greyville runs, the question mark was the straight going to be too short for him? Well, he's proved it in the drill. He got beat virtually a short head, 0.15 behind Undercover Agent. And his next run, it was his second run off the layoff. That's how I put it. He ran 1 3/4 lengths behind Do It Again. I thought a very, very good run. Also running around a bit. We all know Rainbow Bridge at Cape Town, he likes to run out. And in Durban, he likes to run in. And both times, I mean, Anton's tried to bring him out and he's had to go back in as well. So he's lost a little bit of ground. I think his prep's 100%. I think this is the horse that worked the best out of all of them today. He looks well. I think his prep's 100% right. Eric Sands knows what he's doing. He's getting the services of Gavin Lorena. He's got a lovely draw of 4, so he can just virtually be where he wants. He doesn't want to be too handy. He wants to be just 3 or 4, maybe 5 lengths off them. There's going to be pace on, sitting behind them. I wouldn't be surprised if Rainbow Bridge and Hawwaam turn for him virtually just about next to each other, and then we'll see them. But yeah, very big runner. He was very impressive this morning. I think this horse is spot on for next Saturday.
Goth, has Mr. Rattray bought the right horse to win this race?
Yeah, I think so. I really was impressed with the Gallop. I thought probably the best Gallop, like as Kevin said. What I do like about him, this is a horse that's had problems travelling, nervous at the racecourse before the race, sweating up in the parade ring. He seems to have settled in Natal. He seems to have got over that. He's handling things a lot better. He's matured into a strong horse. Weight for age, he's probably better off that with his younger brother.
Yeah.
And his last 2 runs have been very good. Top jockey, drawn 4. I think the race is planned around him a little bit because he's got that pace on his inside. He likes to follow a couple of horses. He can be right there for nothing, and probably whatever beats the top 2 will win the race.
Yeah. Let's talk about the top one. Last year's winner, Do It Again. Lovely work today, very relaxed. He's probably, Wait for Age, the best older horse around, and as I said, there's not much between him and Rainbow Bridge, but he's got a very good record, Do It Again. His win the other day was full of merit. He looks well, he looks fit, and you know, he's drawn 10, he's got a top jockey. He's going to have a lot of people following him, Kev.
Yeah, he's a big runner, this horse, Lef. Definitely the best weight for age horse in the country by far. Yeah, he's drawn 10, he's got the pudding. As I said, he had 53 last year. Now he's got 60. He deserves it. He's done nothing wrong. His last win was full of merit. At the top of the straight, I thought he's not going to run a place. Richard got down and shook him up. He's a top horse, Lef, and like you say, Do It Again, Rainbow Bridge, Hawwaam. These are serious animals. Whoever gets the easiest and the luckiest run in the race, I think the winner's going to come out of the top 4.
Goth?
Yeah, Paul, aptly named. Do It Again. He done it last year. I mean, he's the best horse around. Very nice gallop. My one concern was a little bit that he's coming into the race off 1 run, but then he's trained by a top conditioner. He knows he's probably had his gallops. I saw his gallops prior to his win at Greyville, and they were very good. So one can put that aside and say probably adding the gallops up, he's probably had 3 runs. So I think he's very fit. He looks well, and he is the best weight for age horse around. I think he's lifted to that other level. The top 2 horses.
Yeah.
With the 3-year-old Hawwaam.
All right, I'm going to put you in a corner, Goth, just before we wrap it up. Give us your 1, 2, 3, 4. In the order that you think they'll finish. I know it's a tough call. There's 18 runners. How do you see it? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think they'll finish 2, 1, 4.
Just get that right. It's Rainbow Bridge, Do It Again, Hawwaam, and your lurker for 4th, Goth?
Made to Conquer.
Made to Conquer, last year's runner-up. Kev, how do you see it?
Yeah, I agree with Garth. I think he's got the right horses. I like on work alone, Rainbow Bridge, big runner, Do It Again. I could never leave him out. He's a machine. Hawwaam, the best 3-year-old as well. Garth's hit the nail. I think Twist of Fate's got a chance as well if he can get over from that draw. I've got to give him. And Mark de Kock's other horse, Bahrain.
4, please.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put 4.5.
Go for it. Okay, lovely. And I'm inclined to go with Do It Again, Hawwaam, with Rainbow Bridge right up there as well. And for 4th, as you say, it's not going to be easy, but I'm going for Bahrain. I think he waited to run well. Guys, thanks very much for your input. Excellent to get it, and wonderful to be on Gallops. Just to remind you before we close here that we have got tote paying 6 places this year. There is going to be a pool of 15 million for your pick 6. And the tote opens on Monday. To our panelists, thanks very much. Until next time, we'll see you later.